Before you can choose to move out of a bad relationship, it is really important that first you begin preparing. And it's not so much preparing the small details as far as where will you go, where will the kids go. There's more important things that you need to prepare, and the first thing is your mind. See, because you've been in this place for a very long time, and now it's time to prepare your mind to move to a new and better place. So, when preparing your mind, one of the first things I want to talk about is understanding yourself. Now, the first question you have to ask yourself is, how did I get here? You know, before this situation happened, there were a series of choices that you made. And those series of choices led you to where you are currently at. And you have to ask yourself, what were those choices that I made that brought me here? And what are the choices that I'm currently making that keep me here? That's also very important because it's not just how you got there, but how is it that you're staying there? Because there's a part of you that says, I don't want to be here anymore, yet you haven't managed to get out of that situation. You may really be concerned about breaking up your family because, of course, we don't want broken homes for our children. But you have to ask yourself the question, is staying in this relationship actually going to benefit my children? And another important question is, what are you truly teaching your children by staying in that relationship? Well, let's look at a couple of things that we learn from being in that type of household. You may learn to be an abuser, whether or not you're abusing a spouse or abusing your own children when you become older, or just abusing of people in general, coworkers, or any type of relationship. Also, many times you're teaching your children to be abused. Girls that see their mothers getting abused tend to repeat the cycle because they have learned that it's okay, it's acceptable, or that it's normal. Any which way, what they are learning is to be abused. How do your children treat one another? It's very common that, especially among brothers and sisters, the older ones abuse of the younger ones. They might verbally abuse them, physically abuse them, or it may just be emotional, but any which way, you can see it among your children. And then the worst part is when it starts to spill outside of your home and your children end up being the school bullies because that's an outlet for them. They're receiving so much abuse that the only way to get it out is to abuse somebody else. Of course, this is an unhealthy way to do it, but it does happen. Another common reason why many of us have chosen to stay in an abusive relationship is because we feel that we cannot support ourselves and our children, because a lot of times children are involved. And that's really quite common. That was one situation that I myself experienced. And, what you need to ask yourself is how many single parents aren't out there? Do you know any single parents? Have you gotten any advice from them on how it is that they support themselves and how they're able to manage? You know, you have to think about if you were widowed from one day to the next, how would you make it? You think to yourself, okay, well, there would be some death benefits, but those death benefits would pay for funeral costs. And they really wouldn't leave you and your family with much. So you would be stuck in the same exact situation, except it wouldn't be by choice, obviously. So if you had to do it all by yourself, how would you do it? Well, if you don't know how to do it, that's where talking to single parents really helps because you can see where they draw their strength from. You can see what choices they make, what sacrifices they make, what they do in order to make it work. Because it does work.